Hey guys, I'm Dorkk, and this is just going to be a quick video to show my UI for my Protection Warrior. Currently it doesn't have anything for Fury or Arms, it's just Protection. It wouldn't be too difficult to change some of the auras into working for other specs or even other classes. I just haven't done it because I don't really play any of the DPS specs, I've only been playing tank. Um, First off, I'm just going to talk about, I make this one group that I just put above my health. It's just mainly your cooldowns, anything defensive for the most part. Impending Victory kind of doesn't go in this group. It's not too important. Honestly, I just didn't like how it looked in with my general WeakAuras because I would have made this group a little too big where it would have came out from underneath. So I honestly threw it in that group, but it didn't matter for the most part because I don't ever really use the talent. Um, that's the only weird thing really about the group. Spell Reflect will work if you're using the legendary pants. It will show the 2 stacks. So like right now, if I cast Spell Reflect, it doesn't show anything, but if I now equip the pants, it does show that I have 1 stack and then the cooldown, and if I cast it again, it shows the 0. And then if I switch off the pants again, it stops showing any stacks. And then it doesn't show stacks if it's off cooldown, just because there's no point. It does the same thing with Shield Block, it has the same functionality. And any other, I also made it so Heroic Leap works the same with the shoulders, but if you unequip them, then it doesn't show it. I think that's the only stacking moves that you're really going to need anything like that for. And that's all the cooldowns really are. They just show the cooldown of all the abilities. Nothing too complicated. Any of the buffs from the abilities is actually shown in my active bar, which is this group here. It's a little bit bigger of a group because I actually just make the same group for every class, and I use this one thing, mainly because of any kind of externals and stuff like that. I didn't feel like duplicating for every class and every spec or whatever. So I built it all into this one group and then just made it so you only load the class specific ones on that class. So you can see these warrior ones are loaded here, but any of the other ones don't load. And yeah, that's just one big bar that grows above here. The other thing is I just have a global cooldown bar here. And I know you can set it so that WeakAuras will show the global cooldown now, easier than you could have in the past at least. I still would rather not. I think it looks nicer just to have the bar. Personally, it's just a preference. If you wanted it that way, you can just go through and check it on the WeakAuras. It's not too much harder. Even more so, you can just click on the group and go to trigger. You can just do show global cooldown, and that'll change it for every WeakAura in the group. Yeah, but I would rather the bar. I have an ignore pain group. It's nothing crazy. It just has this one graphic, just so more of a heads up display kind of thing, just to let you know that you have it up. And then the info is, it will actually show the strength and the duration of the buff. So if I cast it, you can see how long you have left on it and then how strong the shield is. That's pretty much it for that. I also just have Mark of the Heavy Hide on its own out of any groups just because I play all the tanks at this point. So I just put it on its own so I don't have to duplicate it for every tank, and I just kind of build the UI around that in mind. I know like where it's going to be that way. Because I try to make my UI for all my characters just the same all across the board. My trinkets group is actually a little weird. So all the trinkets work where they show a placeholder, they show whatever kind of buffs they might have, they show the cooldowns of whatever trinkets they have. I just worked it into one aura for each trinket rather than having multiple auras for each trinket, especially if they were like had many different things. Like Infernal Contract had the cooldown of the trinket, it had the buff, and it had the debuff. Instead, I put it all into the single aura. Obviously, I don't have every trinket made. I kind of only made the ones that I have and use. But you can easily just duplicate each of the auras and then change them to what kind of trinket you have. So like any kind of shield trinket, that would be like animated exoskeleton or shard of rock moro, those are the same, or talisman, all the same. Just regular proc trinkets, that would be bloodthirsty or chrono if it's a stacking proc, impenetrable, Nerubian husk. Any kind of just regular on-use trinket, that would be any of Fangatech Apocalypse, Drive, Unbridled Fury, like any of those. So like it's not going to be every trinket. You might have one that's not listed here. It could be pretty easy to just change one of these into the trinket you have. I made a video for this specifically for the trinkets. It's a little long, but it's because I tried to go into as much detail about the trinkets as possible. So if you want to check that video out, if you have any problems changing the auras for the trinket and making it work, I tried to explain as much as possible on that one. If you had any other questions, I can try to help with that. The buff debuff group is pretty small actually. It's just Vengeance for Ignore Pain, Revenge, Dragon Scales, and it just shows a grayed out cooldown for your taunt whenever it's on cooldown. The general auras is just, whatever, your interrupts, the racial, I only have Torrent made, but you can easily just change that to whatever racial you have. Intercept shows the charges like all the other charge abilities. And then, yeah. And then Prot Warrior is just your core abilities. I also will have the string for my Elvui profile because my UI is pretty much completely built around that. If you only got the WeakAuras, it wouldn't really work entirely. I mean, like they would work. They just kind of would look a little weird, being that my health bar, rage bar, and target health, and my debuff bar, which so if I show you, my debuff bar is actually right here, which falls in line with the buffs that I showed before. The debuffs are a little smaller. I didn't make them the same size or anything like that. But same concept, they're right above that. And then for your target, actually, the buffs and debuffs show on them as well. If I close this is all the debuffs right here. This will be anything that you apply essentially, and then on the right side is all the buffs. I don't know how to share bigwigs profiles, but essentially, if I could, I would, or if anyone can suggest how, if anyone knows, I can try to share that too. I just made it look like LVY's style, and I just put it right above the target's frame. Just looks cleaner to me. So if we turn off the auras, so as you can see, all the debuffs just show up here. I made it grow, I think it was 4 to the right, and then 1 up, and then that's just like a cap. It shouldn't show any more than that. If you're applying any more than 10 debuffs, I'm sorry, but I don't think most people or classes are, being that it only shows your debuffs, it's not really showing anyone else's. I think I actually even had to change it just because my Death Knight was the only one probably going over that 4 or 5 stacks, whatever it shows. Debuffs, I mean, just with the Dancing Rune weapon and their Blood Plague. Other than that, there's not really anything else for the UI. If you had any questions about it, or if you needed any help changing anything or importing it, I can try to help with that. Thanks for watching. I hope the UI helps, and hope you like it.